right, we have surveillance support Q&A, and the main highlight question this week is the pros and cons of Obtanium versus other ways to get applications on Android. We're going to talk about Schneier's Law. We're going to talk about System 76 and other laptops that might support Red Hat Enterprise Linux-based distros. We're going to talk about AppImages versus Flatpaks, and also Atlas privacy. Let's go ahead and get into it. And again, these questions come from our patrons or anyone on XMR chat if you want to also join it through Monero. So check those out in the description, and we'd love to answer any questions. It can be about something personal, about tech questions. They can be privacy and security. It's our way to kind of give back to our supporters. So the first one is about Obtanium. So how do you see relative pros and cons of Obtanium versus other ways to get apps like sandboxed play services? So there's a lot of pros and cons. I want to really highlight the main one that I think about in this situation, which is app resiliency. And where I'm going with this is, so for example, I think Briar at one point was like removed from the Play Store. It was temporary, but it was a mistake, but they were removed from the Play Store. TikTok, all the stuff in TikTok happening kind of keeps it questionable whether or not something can just be outright removed from the Play Store, which it was. I think it was just a day or two. Monero.com was briefly removed from the Play Store. There have been lots of like random privacy projects that are just randomly removed from the Play Store. Most of these are honest mistakes, but it should remind people that you are ultimately trusting Google with what apps are listed. And I think that is really the core highlight to Obtanium for me. With Obtanium, there really is no way for an app to be banned or blocked, because what you do with Obtanium is you take an open source repo, and let's say it's Signal, and then you essentially just follow that repo directly. Now, let's say someone goes after Signal through GitHub, and GitHub has to shut down their Signal repo. Well, someone can just copy the Signal repo onto another thing like Git or like GitLabs, like wherever, whatever, they could self-host one, right? Like my point is, it doesn't matter. You can still use Obtanium to then fetch from that new repo. So it's almost impossible to be banned as an application when you use Obtanium. And Obtanium is great for people who don't want to trust an app store. They want to just directly fetch an app as if they were getting it manually, and it automates more of that manual process. The con is that you do kind of have to trust every upload, right? Like it's automatically fetching essentially a download, an APK from a repo. So theoretically, if someone's GitHub account, for example, was hacked and they released a malicious APK, your phone would be one of the first to download those. Now, that's extremely unlikely, and I really hope that most developers have basic security precautions in place for their GitHub repos, but it's just an example of how there's a little bit more user error. You have to also make sure you add the right link. There's like malicious repos and cloned repos that are meant to look like the regular one. So make sure you're getting the right link, and also you can automatically verify hashes and stuff like that with Obtanium to try to mitigate some of those concerns. Any kind of centralized app store, on the other hand, the pro is convenience. It's also accessibility, because Obtanium probably only works with open source apps, most likely, whereas something like the Play Store is going to display pretty much any application out there for you. But you're just putting a little more trust in these centralized companies. And I think another pro is theoretically, if a developer's account was taken over and someone uploaded a malicious APK, hopefully Google looking over it is one more party that they would have to go through before a malicious app hit your phone. Now, that's not a guarantee. There's still malware on the Play Store, but it's one more thing to hopefully protect you and the developer and everyone in the process. So those are generally the pros and cons that I look at. I really like Obtanium. It's a really cool project. If like app stores are the way you want to go, there's several app stores on Android that also can give you a pretty similar experience too. I personally really like Aurora, and that's kind of the way I tend to gravitate if I'm getting apps. So I normally get like a majority of apps through Aurora, but I also like F-Droid and Obtanium as well. Crescent's fine, but there's just like no apps on it yet, so I don't really use it for much, because otherwise I would just get like 2 apps from Crescent and then everything else from different app stores. So yeah, those are my general thoughts.
So first off, TikTok was actually out of the app stores for like a month. I just went and checked it.
No, it was just a few days, I think.
I just went and checked it, and I know at least the Apple App Store, it was gone for quite a while, because I remember seeing a headline that it was back in app stores, and I was like, wait, what? Like, that happened forever ago. Why is it just now coming back?
You're right. Yeah, January 18th through February 13th is what I'm seeing. Wow. Okay. I thought it was a shorter time period, but yeah, you're right. It just proves my point more.
I think one thing worth considering is that sometimes Google will force developers to remove certain things if you get them from the Play Store. Like, sorry, there's like a gnat flying around my microphone. IVPN has to remove their anti-tracking feature because Google doesn't like that it's so effective. But if you get things from Aurora, then you're still getting like the Google Firebase analytics, which some apps can remove if they don't have to. Like Google basically, from what I understand, I could be wrong. From what I understand, Google like forcibly bakes that into everything in the App Store. So if you go outside of the App Store, then now you get to remove that set of analytics. But other than that, yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. There's pros and cons, and sometimes on the same thing. Like if you go with Obtanium, direct from GitHub can be a lot faster, especially when we're talking about going through F-Droid. But on the other hand, when you go through F-Droid, you have somebody putting a second set of eyes on it. So they can verify that the developer isn't doing anything too crazy. Not that I think you're wrong, but the only thing I kind of disagree with on you is I really try to keep my phone as minimal as possible. I know you're also kind of a digital minimalist, but like for me, especially now, for those who don't know, Calyx has removed the requirement to have F-Droid. It does ship with it by default, but you can uninstall it if you want. So for me, that's one less app to have on my phone because there's some things that like Tubular, which is, for those who don't know, newsflash, NewPipe is no longer being supported. I think it's NewPipe X sponsor block specifically. So if you're using NewPipe with sponsor block, it's not getting updated. You should change. It has been replaced largely by an app called Tubular, which is still in beta. And I think that's why it hasn't been like officially pushed to like F-Droid or any stores. So the only way to get it is to get an APK. And I'm still unclear to this day if most APKs update automatically and which ones don't. Like some of them will say it self-updates.
I only know I've never seen a self-updating APK outside of Signal.
But yeah, like that right there. So if I'm going to download things like Tubular, which aren't anywhere, I have to get it directly from GitHub. I want to make sure it's updating faster. I've shared the story before about Bitwarden rolled out passkeys, and I was like, I want to start playing with this. I had to wait 3 days for F-Droid to roll it out. So I like to use Obtanium to get them as soon as possible directly and just bypass that waiting period. Obtanium can also pull from F-Droid. So for me, it's just like one less app to have on my phone. I can get things from F-Droid, but I can also get them directly from GitHub. And then if there's anything that's not, that I have to get from the Play Store, like organic maps, for example, or not organic maps, Magic Earth, sorry. You know what I mean? So, or Proton or whatever. So.
I didn't know you could fetch F-Droid apps from Obtanium, so I might actually go ahead.
And you can even do third-party repos too. You just have to put in the address of the repo.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so I might actually modify that on an Android device I have. So I'll probably just do Aurora and Obtanium as my 2 options on that device.
We're going to go back to the top of David's questions. And the first one is, how well do you think Schneier's law can be transferred to privacy and anonymity? So Schneier's law, thank you for enlightening us, not assuming we know, because I certainly didn't. It's the idea that anyone can invent a cipher that he cannot crack himself, but that's not the same as a cipher that remains uncracked after years of dedicated effort by the world's ablest cryptanalysts. Another way you kind of explained it is it possible for someone to create a privacy strategy that they can't crack, but someone else probably can? And do we think that explains how many people are satisfied with their privacy in the mainstream? I think we see this all the time. Like a company will announce like, hey, we're going to release this new feature. And instantly everybody in the comments are like, here's 10 reasons this is stupid. Well, Recall is a perfect example. Microsoft was like, here's Recall. And putting the talk aside, immediately everybody was like, here's me breaking Recall 500 times. Or with Apple's on-device CSAM scanning, people are like, here's 150 hash collisions in the first week. I think that's really common. And that's one of the reasons that we're a fan of open source, is because then people can come in and do that. Because I do think, I normally try to take a more nuanced approach, but I'll go ahead and come down a little bit hard on proprietary software here. I think it's incredibly egotistical to be like, well, we hired really good people, so don't worry. It's like that scene in Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, like top men, don't worry about it. Top men are on the project. I respect somebody who says like, we think we did a good job, but first of all, we want to be transparent. We want to earn your trust, and we are open to feedback. Here's the code. Let us know how we can improve. Same thing with privacy and anonymity. Like, I don't think that explains why people are satisfied with their privacy. I think it could be a factor. I think, and I've said this before, I think the issue is people have, I think it's called normalcy bias, where people think, I'm not a bad person, therefore other people aren't bad people. And there's a difference between, I think we all know this, there's a difference between knowing something and like letting it sink in. Like, it's the same thing with like people who are, smoke cigarettes. And then the first time the doctor comes in and says, I think you might have lung cancer, and they have that near miss, and they're like, I need to get my crap together and stop smoking. Like, there's a difference between knowing something and letting it sink in. And so I think when you talk to mainstream, quote unquote normies, and you say, well, yeah, like you would never stalk somebody's social media profile, but there's bad people who would. And they're like, well, I know that. You still check into every location on Facebook. It's not until it happens, unfortunately, that a lot of them go, oh, yeah, bad people are out there. There's a disconnect there. And I think, in my opinion, I think that's what it is for most people until they have some kind of come to Jesus moment where either it happens to them or it happens to someone close to them or they have a near miss. And I don't want it to. Like, I don't think that's a good thing. I personally would rather not get shot or stabbed to find out that it hurts. I will take the word of people who have been there, done that. But I think some people, that's what it is. Until for some reason it sinks in, they just don't really make that connection in their heads.
Next question. In the world of
You don't have any thoughts
workstations.
on that one?
No. Yeah, no
Oh, okay.
thoughts. Yeah. Next question. In the world of workstations, System 76 is optimized for Debian, NitroKey for cubes, and what privacy and security-oriented hardware vendor do you think sells workstations optimized for Red Hat Enterprise Linux-based distros? So things like Red Hat, obviously, but Fedora, etc. Honestly, and maybe someone knows better than I do, I don't know what exactly makes something Red Hat Enterprise Linux oriented. Generally, like if something's compatible with one Linux distro, it seems to do pretty well with others, except maybe like formal certifications or formal testing from the person who sells the laptop to tell you, yes, all the features work as they should. Nate did add a note here that System 76 does officially support Fedora, so that is an option. And like I recently did a review of Nova Custom. They also do custom Linux laptops. Cubes is like their main focus, but they also pre-install Fedora as well. My guess is that anything that can run cubes can probably run Fedora, especially because cubes like uses Fedora VMs, and that's like a big part of cubes. So I don't think it's that big of an issue. And from what I've been able to tell, even like a generic Amazon Windows PC that comes with Windows 11 out of the box can probably run Fedora just fine as well. I would ask, what does optimized mean to you? But I think you probably should be fine with almost any computer.
I'm with you. I don't know if you mean optimized in the sense of like it's officially supported, in which case, yeah, there's System 76. Like you said, anything that runs cubes, because cubes has such strict hardware requirements, it should easily be able to run Fedora. If you mean in the sense that it comes preloaded with it, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know of any.
Nova Custom.
Okay, I might add that to the website because I was going to say on the new oil, I tried to have an easy mode. So I recommended Pop and Silverblue were the two main distros I recommended for most people. And I was like, if you want to do the easy mode, you can buy a System 76 laptop that comes preloaded with Pop OS. But I couldn't find anything for Fedora other than Nova Custom, apparently. I don't think there's any that come preloaded with it. But yeah, in my experience, almost anything will run Linux of any kind, but I'm also not, except for cubes. Again, that one's got strict requirements. But I don't make big demands of my computer. Like, I know some people are really into like the drivers and the DEs and like, and especially I get it if you're like, I want to do gaming, I want to do video editing, then same with Windows. Like if you're just surfing the net and sending emails and writing the occasional Word document, go pick up a $300 laptop at Walmart and you'll be fine. But if you're doing something specific, then you need to put more thought into it. So, all right, next question. What do you see as the relative pros and cons of AppImages versus Flatpaks, and when would you choose one versus the other, especially when both are available and official? So first of all, not an expert on this topic, but you did hit the big thing. A lot of the time I'll go with one or the other because, this service offers an app image but not an official Flatpak, or they offer a Flatpak but not an official app image. So it's like, cool, I'll go with whatever's official. If both are available and official, personally, I'm biased towards Flatpaks, but I went ahead and I cheated a little bit. I used Leo, which is Brave's AI, to give me a summary. So I apologize if this is wrong, but this does check out based on what I know, and I think it's correct. So according to Leo, AppImages, the pros, they are self-contained and they're relatively distro agnostic. They'll work on pretty much any distro. They do require Fuse, which is like a dependency, but other than that, they'll work on pretty much any distro. They do not use root, and they are decentralized in the sense that anyone can publish one on their website. Like Tuda, you can go straight to Tuda's website, download their app image for their mail client. The drawbacks are they do not auto-update, they are not sandboxed, and they can take up more space because all the dependencies and everything are built into the app image. So if it needs any dependencies, those will have to be bundled into. Flatpaks, on the other hand, are sandboxed by default, but for the record, that may not be perfect, so check out things like Flatseal. They are capable of auto-updates, especially if you get them through like FlatHub, for example. They can run from a central repo or a third party. So FlatHub is kind of like F-Droid. Like FlatHub is the main one that everybody knows, but there are other repos and people can offer their own third-party repo directly. I didn't know this one, so correct me if this is wrong. According to Leo, it shares resources among each other to improve disk space and efficiency. So again, like the app image, let's say I don't know anything about dependencies, so I'm just going to make up package A. Let's say you have 3 app images and they all need package A in order to run. You're going to have package A 3 times in each one of those app images. Apparently, Flatpaks are capable of sharing package A across all 3 of them without sharing the data. So they don't need to replicate it 3 times. They can all use the same dependency. Again, I apologize if that's wrong. They say it integrates better into most desktop environments. And from what I could tell, the drawbacks were kind of more technical things. Like the component installations may be complex. It may be difficult to find like the actual install files. Like once you've installed it, it may be difficult to find the files because they're in hidden directories. And of course, it is associated with like Red Hat and other corporate entities, which some people may not appreciate. So from what I understand, those are kind of the pros and cons. It sounds to me like Flatpaks would be preferable, assuming you trust them, but there's pros and cons to each.
I personally much prefer Flatpaks, personally. But like when I was doing my cubes review, the Notes Nook sponsor segment I included was through an app image, and that's what they posted. And it made it super easy to run on cubes. You just download the app image, and even in cubes, it's like super easy to spin it up. But like trying to do that via Flatpak is kind of, a little bit more involved. But overall, like if it's just my regular daily driver OS, I always try to use Flatpaks. If anything, just purely for the sandboxing, especially with Flatseal, because that emulates what macOS has, which is how every operating system should be. Once you've used macOS and you've seen how regular permission management should look like, then you will probably not want to use anything on Linux that isn't at least like Flatseal. But also automatic updates. Having just a convenient place to update all your stuff in one area is just so nice. And it's something that I always like consistently miss when I'm using things like Windows or even Mac OS. I feel like Homebrew is good, but it's not the same. Like Homebrew, there's still a lot of missing things that aren't on Homebrew, and they are updated a little slower, and I feel like Homebrew is just less, it just doesn't feel the same as a lot of like Linux package managers, in my opinion. It's too different. Last question, have you used Atlas Privacy for personal information removal from data brokers, or have you heard of others' experiences? They're featured in news stories about privacy, but do not seem to be as widely discussed as a recommendation compared to Delete Me or Easy Opt-outs. Yeah, so actually the latest even indirect coverage that we've talked about with Atlas Privacy, this is kind of a throwback. I don't know when you all remembered when we covered that story. This made it really big splash on PC Mag. There's databreach.com, which emerged as an alternative to Have I Been Pwned. I don't know if people remember that story. That's not Atlas Privacy's main service. They actually have this whole like data removal service. We scan you on the dark web, all those things. I'm sure the service works. Like I'm looking at the website, you can type in your information. It says you are found on Intellius, you are found on Spokio, you are found on People Finders. And then, you sign up and then they tell you if they find you in new data breaches. I don't doubt that it works, just like based on the pricing and what I'm seeing, it's $150 a year. Whereas like Easy Opt-outs is $20. I know Easy Opt-outs is a sponsor for like the regular show, but we speak our honest thoughts on this stuff. Like Easy Opt-outs just makes it so automated, and they're not going to give you like the cool UI and the cool like ecosystem that Atlas Privacy gives you. Like Atlas Privacy, you get an app, you log in, it's like showing you all the stuff, kind of like what Optory does. Optory is like very similar. Actually, Atlas Privacy seems very similar to Optory in a lot of ways. So I'd say it's more of a like competitor to Optory, which tries to give you like this ecosystem where it does tons of things for you in one place. I personally don't see the need, mainly because like you can just freeze your credit. A lot of these credit services actually ping you anyway for stuff like this, and they already have this stuff integrated if you really want a service like this. I mean, you can just get it from the native person who's already doing this stuff. And even then, I still don't recommend doing it. I don't do it. I literally just freeze my credit and I use an automated removal service. And that's kind of the most control you can have over this stuff, generally speaking. So especially for the cost, I'd say like check it out, see if it works for you. But I don't think there's anything too unique that I'm seeing from this service.
First of all, real quick on the note of credit services that'll monitor the dark web, if you have a credit card, check and see what sort of other benefits they offer. Because I listened to some personal finance podcasts, and a lot of them, they don't really advertise it from what I understand. From what I understand, a lot of them will have like additional protection on an electronics purchase. So like, let's say you buy a new TV and you get like a 1-year warranty just because you bought it from Costco or whatever. It's probably bigger with Costco actually, but you know what I mean? Like you get an automatic warranty for a year. If you buy it with that credit card, you'll get another 2 years added on to that. So it's a way to get like 3 years of warranty for no additional cost. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm stuttering. Especially if you do the personal finance thing where you have the money to buy it, you buy it on the credit card to get like the points and the benefits, and then you immediately pay it off before the interest hits. So some of those credit card companies may offer, and I maybe not, I could be imagining that, I could be remembering wrong, but it might be something they offer where like, hey, if you go sign up, we'll alert you when your stuff hits the dark web. Which what I was going to say is I feel like dark web monitoring is becoming like the data removal industry version of VPNs will make you anonymous. except not quite that full of crap because they will monitor. But what I'm noticing is they all say like, "We'll monitor, we'll alert you, we'll alert you." And what I understand, and what you guys watching probably understand, is we'll tell you, and that's it. But what people who don't understand this stuff will hear is, we'll remove it. And I think that's a little bit misleading. They're not technically lying, but I think they're insinuating to people, they're kind of like, hint, hint, we'll remove it. But they're not actually going to promise that because obviously they can't do it. That's not how the dark web works, especially with this kind of stuff where, you know, you can't just politely email the personal breach forums and be like, please remove our customers' data. So I don't know. That feels really shady to me, the way that they keep doing that. But it is what it is. That aside, I agree with Henry. I don't see anything here that makes me think like, no, this is a red flag, run far away. It is pretty expensive, especially when we have things like easy opt-outs, which, as Henry noted, yes, they are a sponsor, but I genuinely mean that. That's an objective opinion. I think if you're going to pay for a data removal service, I don't see any reason not to go with easy opt-outs. The only thing I did notice when I was poking around the website is they do have a free tier that says it has 50 plus DIY opt-out guides. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm kind of interested and I might sign up for that because one thing we've recommended in the past is to pay for easy opt-outs and then use things like Optery's free tier or Google's results about me. And that way, like if there's anything the easy opt-outs misses, you'll get notified and you'll still have to do the work yourself to go take it down, but at least you know it's there and you can go take action. So this could be another one of those, depending on how that free tier works. This could be another one of those things where it's like, hey, pay for easy opt-outs, but then also sign up for their free tier and get a notification. I don't know how effective they are. They weren't covered by Consumer Reports. I haven't done any research. Privacy Guides hasn't done any research. I would love to do more testing of some of these services that Consumer Reports didn't cover, but it's really hard to find people who are willing to volunteer. You know, like, yeah, give me your social and your date of birth. I promise I'm not doing anything shady with it. But I only have so many family members I can use that with.
Well, that is it for the week. Again, I want to thank David Johnson, but it'd be cool to see more comments from more David Johnsons. Maybe Johnson David next week. And that can be you on XMR chat. Just tip us with Monero. You can also join us on Patreon. We are exploring some other options, so stay tuned. But as of right now, those are the two main options. And we'd love to see more questions. And if you join our Patreon, you also get access to things like ad-free episodes where we cut out the sponsor segments for you. We also leave in a lot more of our commentary and like personal thoughts and analysis on things. And you also get to support the podcast and keep it going. We do this every week and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And we couldn't do it without your guys' support. So thank you all, and we'll see you next week.